Okay.
Okay. All right. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Ethics Commission of the Town of Chesapeake Beach. It's 1 o'clock. I see all members of the commission are here, as is the commission's counsel and clerk. We have a quorum, and so the meeting is now in session. First agenda item, will everybody please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
The first agenda item, approval of the agenda. Is there any objections? Next item, approval of the minutes of the past meeting of January 27th. The minutes have been distributed quite a while back. Are there any comments or objections?
None.
Okay, meetings are approved unanimously. Okay, now we get to the meat. The first substantive agenda item is the report on the status of the pending proposed amendments to the ordinance. The first one is the amendment that is mandated by the state. This amendment was introduced by the town council at its last meeting, the February meeting. The public hearing was scheduled for the March meeting, which is a week from today, actually. And followed then by a vote, and that is the status. The other approval that is the other amendment that has been proposed is the amendment that was generated by this commission on its own, going back quite a long time. The draft that had been prepared and discussed was reviewed by the town administrator and also by the town's lawyer. Town's lawyer didn't have any objections, and the next step would be that the draft would be sent to the state's ethics commissions for its approval, which is necessary precondition for the amendment to become part of the law. And I think that unless there are further comments about any further changes or corrections that we should make to the draft that was prepared. If that is not the case, then I take it it's the commission's sense that we go forward and submit it to the state and see what happens. I think both get back to the office. I would like to confirm with you that the draft and going through so many versions that it's easy to somewhere. So I will. Okay, that is takes care of item 4B of the agenda. Item C is the review and discussion of the revised disclosure statement. And we have what should be a final draft was circulated a while back. I have the last draft was a draft designated as 2223. That's the date when it was written, it was sent to all. And I have made, on my own authority, a number of edits that are purely formal, and certainly not substantive. There were a number of typographical errors or deficiencies in the draft. Things like spacing between words and this kind of thing that has been corrected in the it's actually the person who noticed that was Holly Wall, the town administrator. The draft also has a number of further edits, and I decided not to inundate everybody with yet another big piece of paper. So let me quickly review those additional edits on the. Change to. Here we are. On the very first page, cover page, in the line current position or office, and I made I changed the following wordings. It read originally "or office for candidacy." That wording is inconsistent with the word we actually use throughout the statements. So I changed it to read "or for candidates, office short." Next change I made is on page 2, under the instructions, the second paragraph, which deals with instructions to the filer, what to do, how to proceed with the answers. And at the last, the sentence read, "Then complete the applicable schedules as part of your public disclosure statements." And I added the word "and discard the schedules that are not applicable." That is, strictly speaking, not necessary, but I thought it would help to make it clear that we are not expecting the whole package back with blank pages that can toss those out.
Either the changes you're mentioning, are they here in this printout, or I don't see those?
No, they're not in the, which is why I'm going over it, but I'll send them afterwards.
Okay.
Plus whatever further changes we agree to at this meeting. On page 10, at the bottom of that, at the end of that schedule, there's the usual exhortation that if there are additional disclosures to be made, they should be on the filer should put those on a separate piece of paper. And I changed the wording there incorrect in that it referred to business entities that did business with a town. The fact is that that requirement pertains only to elected officials, to appointed officials. For elected officials, they have to disclose a business interest wherever that interest is located. It was just an error earlier. At page 11, as well as on other pages, the draft that you saw has a line in bold type at the very beginning, which says a separate schedule will be required for each, whatever the item is that the schedule deals with. And in some cases, that exhortation was repeated at the very bottom, and I cleaned that up so that for each of these schedules, the exhortation, a separate schedule, will be required for each, whatever it is. For example, Schedule C, IFTs, and so on. Schedule E, separate schedule.
Peter, you put those on the top or at the bottom? I see that Schedule E is
at the top, it's crossed out.
And so you always put it at the bottom.
At the bottom, this is additional wording. Page 16 relates to the filer's relationship with certain governmental entities, and the instruction at the bottom read, if you had additional financial or contractual relationships during the reporting period, please use additional schedules H if necessary. And each of the above questions, I made some changes here to for greater clarity. It now reads, if you had additional financial or contractual relationships with such governmental entities, crossed out during the reporting period, because all questions only relate to the respective reporting period. That we use additional schedules H and so on. Same question on the same change on page 17, page 18, page 19, and those are the changes. And if I mean, you will see this. I will send it out as soon as I get home. But does anybody have a problem with it?
I don't. I just as a point of clarification, the on page 16, it says additional schedules H if necessary. Is that necessary? That what else are you going to do?
Verbiage that doesn't apply in the others. We can cross that out.
And the other thing, Peter, is it possible that when you make these changes, you make it in a way that it's you keep track of changes so we can all quickly see where the changes were made?
Yes, it'll should show up in red on your screen.
Yeah, when you make them.
And I'll ask for everybody's approval, and then we will accept all changes, and it'll be a clean copy. But you said which?
It was page 16, the Schedule H.
Oh, yeah.
Necessary.
Use additional if necessary.
Well, can I have that if necessary on page 19 at the bottom of the page? A representative of the town will contact you to make further inquiries about this matter if necessary. Page 19, 19. the way it reads now is that you're going to be contacted anyway,
Good point. If necessary.
if necessary.
No, how would you like it?
If necessary?
I thought we said, if necessary, we cross that out, because there was only in one place where it appeared. Or we put it into everyone.
I think the point is that the note right now on page 19 implies that
You're gonna be
the
contacted.
town, staff will contact them regardless. But if we put, if necessary, a representative of the town. You see the bold at the very end of that page.
But at the
On the same
top,
page.
we will eliminate the words, a separate Schedule K will be required for each such instance.
Right. But
And
at the
instead,
bottom,
at the bottom, we have a separate Schedule K will be required for each such instance.
there was a note before. It says note,
still
a
is there.
representative. Of town.
The note is still there.
Yes, the suggestion is to add
If
note,
necessary.
if necessary. A
Oh,
town representative,
okay.
because they may
Thank you,
not
Fahad.
contact in every case.
Correct, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Makes sense, Fred? Okay, okay.
Because if they have not filled out Schedule K, if they have not used confidential information, they would just throw away the page.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's true.
Section 1 to.
This is what I had in mind when I said that on the second page in the instructions, I added the words discard the schedules that are not applicable. This should save a lot of space in the paper files that the town keeps.
Page 21. Do we need such a list? Because they are going to file Schedule B for each business.
Yeah.
So why would they need to provide a list in addition?
It's the
If they're not
That's
providing
appendix.
the list, the tech is providing the list.
Oh, I'm with you. So
We
there
need
this is the list
a,
of, I got it.
for each year, Sharon will have to give us a list of the entities that do business with the town.
I'm with you now. In that case, do they need to see that list with Schedule?
Well, yes.
A?
Yes.
So they know if a particular business did business with the town.
Right. Is it referred to in Schedule B? The Appendix A, is that referred to in Schedule B? Because it would help people when they get to that, they say there is a list.
Question, and
It's in
No.
the instruction on page 2. Third bullet point.
third bullet point, we say a list of entities that did business with the town during the reporting period is attached as Appendix A. However,
I think it would be
maybe this
perhaps
assumes too much of the
reading.
attention span of the
Exactly.
readers.
Precisely what I'm saying.
All right.
How about we take that sentence and put it on Schedule B or repeat it as a minimum?
Yes, we no reason not to. I mean, it would.
Exactly. That's where they are going to pay attention to. I'm just curious, Sharon, how many entities are there? I'm just envisioning, how many pages are we looking at?
I know what we-
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for memory from this past year, the schedule has two parts. Those that actually did kind of a contract with the town, that runs about 2 pages. There is a shorter list of entities that try to do business with the town by responding to a request for proposal or some such solicitation and didn't get the contract. But we view those as doing business with the town for purposes of the disclosures.
Thank you.
Well, this concludes what I had to say about the public disclosure statement. As everyone knows, that does not require state approval, and it also does not require a formal action by the town council. However, I think I will again do what I did before. I send the present draft that you are looking at to the town administrator. The mayor had told me that anything about the ethics commission, talk to Holly. She'll keep me on the straight and narrow. And so that's what I did. Town administrator, raised some questions which, are, I responded separately, but it's not the kind of thing that we need to have to go over, I think, at this plenary meeting.
Either should we review these comments that were provided?
We can do that. There isn't much that needs to be said. All these comments were reviewed by our council, and we can run through it quickly if you want. Okay, the first one related to the definition of business. She wanted to know whether a homeowners association is doing business with the town. The answer is no. Doing business is defined differently. HOA is not providing goods or services to the town. Although, as she pointed out, the town does enter into contractual relationship with homeowners associations, for example, for the provision of snow removal and maybe similar things. And basically, it raises a question that we may decide to take up in the future. In the previous incarnation of this commission, before you two gentlemen, Greg and Farhad, before you came on, there was a bit of a kerfuffle because a resident had some beef with officers of a particular HOA. And as it turns out, both of them are also on the town council. And he said that should be an ethical conflict of interest and so on. It isn't under our ethics ordinance, and I don't think there's anything in the, at least in the model ordinances that the state has provided that would suggest that or require that. However, it's a topic that we want to raise. Certainly, it's has a little bit of a swell of a potential for a conflict of interest if HOA officers also have an official position in the town. And, that is something that we think is perhaps not a burning issue, but something that should usefully be addressed. Can put it on a future agenda.
I personally feel that being on the board of the homeowners association is not all that different from being a homeowner because you have an interest in your community, in your area, and I'm not sure if it deserves anything beyond this. But at the same time, it may be worthwhile, since this has been raised before, to clarify what are the type of activities, especially voluntary activities, unpaid activities, that should not be reported or do not need any reporting requirement. You know, a person could be also a member of a volunteer member of, let's say, the American Chestnut Land Trust. Mm-hmm. Should they declare that, and what would be the purpose of that?
Yes, certainly such things must be disclosed. I think it's Schedule D. We have very concretely a situation where a council member is also one of the luminaries at the fire department.
Yes.
Same thing, yeah.
Yes.
And the question is, and we discussed whether somebody who has such a position would be prevented from, would not also have a town position. Mayor Pat objected to this vociferously. He said there are so few committed, dedicated people in a town of this size that if I say to that council member, you either have to give up your council seat and you stay on the fire department, or the other way around. And that would be, in the mayor's view, a detriment to both the town and that organization. So we don't have a prohibition barring somebody from acting.
So Schedule D is for salaried employees.
Only. It's that is a
Well, the question, the primary question on Schedule D, looking at the list of schedules, during the reporting period, did you or any close relative have any salaried employment or hold any office or directorship or seek employment by or have a contract with an entity that did business with the town. So if the HOA did not do business with the town, it wouldn't need any disclosure.
And similarly, if American Chestnut Land Trust, if they don't do business, but
Right.
they are an organization that have, let's say, properties here, they would not be. So it seems to me that perhaps a clarification of that would eliminate and would clarify that those individuals are not subject to that disclosure.
That requirement, yeah.
Right? I mean,
Well-
based on the forms that we have currently, a voluntary position is not required to be reported on this. And an HOA position or a voluntary position on a food bank.
Yes, the way it's now, with neither an HOA nor the fire department entity that did business with the town.
Right. Neither one.
HOA doesn't do business with the town. Fire department doesn't business with the town. It receives funding from the town, but that's not doing business. The Railway Museum is governed by a board of directors or whatever they are called, trustees, and that doesn't need to be disclosed either, because they're not doing business with the town, they're providing goods or services. Oh,
I think one of my last comments, which we'll get to later, was if, and it goes to what you were saying, if there's a feeling that some of these entities are of such significance that there should be some disclosure, regardless of whether or not they do business with the town as defined, then I think the town mayor and council would need to amend the ordinance to so require. And once they did that, then we could next year amend the form, create another schedule. So it's a very fundamental policy question as to whether an HOA, a volunteer fire department, or other similar types of community organizations, present such potential for conflicts of interest that there ought to be some sort of disclosure of not just membership necessarily, but holding an officer position or holding a directorship position in those organizations.
I suppose with the Appendix A and listing all the entities that do business with town, that becomes a moot point. So an HOA will not be on that list. A fire department will not be on that list. The food bank will not be.
Unless hypothetically, and I know this not the case, but just as an example, let's say there is a public park or recreational area within the area covered by the HOA.
Yeah, that would be an issue, yeah.
And it's something that the town would normally maintain. And the town puts out an RFP or invitation to bid to interested people who might want to take on the maintenance of that for the town and get paid for it. In that situation, an HOA might, quote, do business with the town, but that's just the day-to-day activities of an HOA, would not fall in that category.
And in the example you cited, that HOA would be listed in Appendix A.
Yes.
Very well. I think you're clear then.
okay. I have a sense that there's no desire to get into a discussion about HOAs.
Not at this time, yeah.
Had discussions about that in the past. And decided not, if somebody has a beef with an HOA, as a particular resident did about 2 years ago. She wanted the town to help her discipline or somehow punish the HOA officials who had displeased her.
Well, part of the issue was that the HOA officials were also members of the council.
Right.
I think our answer at the time was, on one hand, it's an internal HOA matter. The HOA wants to prevent its own officers from becoming public officials with the town. They should change their bylaws or whatever rules they have, and take it to the town council and complain that there is misbehavior on the part of some officials. But it is not anything that is governed by the ethics ordinance. That basically was our position at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think violate the good old American rule: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, this concludes agenda item C. And
Well, actually, can we take a look at, again, this list? And just make sure that there are no loose ends. For example, I see that on page 15, the question was raised, and Fred made the point that, yes, it perhaps can be more clear.
Clearer, yeah.
page. Page 16 and 17, and it's the subject of HOH.
What did you mean, Fred? Clearer. Name of the business, name and address of employer.
Yeah, what you see in red, these are common.
I understand. So he said that it can be made clearer.
Yeah.
And the question is that how can we make that clearer? It's an unresolved
Mhm.
issue.
What you are thinking?
Yeah, I don't remember what my thinking was at the time.
You say you believe the wording of the qualifying question makes this clear, but could be made clearer. So, you know. All right, well, let's move on then.
Oh, no, don't recall what my thinking was.
Okay, so if it comes back to you, you can communicate in the next
Yeah,
round.
right.
All right.
I did have one
I think
comment.
we are then done with item C of the agenda.
I have one item, and that is, we had a discussion on email, and we said that we'll discuss this when we are in person. And that is about the definition of interest and attributable. It's way too long, and frankly, I read it several times.
I did the
and
same
it's-
thing,
it's-
yeah.
It's, I
Confusing.
mean, we have bullets and indented bullets and indented bullets and three levels.
It is,
connected.
but
I need a-
that's,
I need-
the state law requirement.
But how can we send
Simplify
a
it.
form
Yeah.
to people to fill out and we say that we don't understand it, or why this is? My question is that when you look at these indentations and we have A, B, C, and D,
Go back up to the top. Look back.
you know, and then it seems like D would cover A, B, and C.
Yeah, yeah.
So why do we have A, B, and C? And so it,
Because the state law says this is the way we want to see it broken out.
but this is the form. We are not talking, this is the way we have interpreted the ordinance to our people who need to fill it out. So it needs to be done in a way that people who are filing this can understand it.
And keep in mind, we're going to have to fill the same form out. So
Exactly.
Well, Farhad, I understand what your concern is.
I do
And,
too.
I think we all do, yeah.
you know, there is, I think there are two ways we can do about it. One is to put a reminder on the disclosure schedule where the word, there's only one place where the word attributable comes up. And we can have an instruction or reminder there. Remember, I'm speaking plain English, remember attributable has a carefully defined, very technical meaning that is set forth in our definitions. So go back to the definitions, take a look, and then answer the question.
What I'm saying, Peter, is that I read the definition and it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. I have read it several times. It doesn't make sense. So this needs to be in a way that I think
Plain simple
any
English,
of
yeah,
us
yeah, yeah, yeah.
can stand in front of people and say, yes, we understood it, and it means this as a minimum.
I would need Fred or one of his friends to be there with me.
Right.
Understand that.
Exactly.
It's
Right, exactly. I'm gonna say, call Fred. because-
Well, the second way we can go about this is by finding a language that would pretty much, as close as we can do it, seem to approximate what the state actually requires.
I suggested that,
And
yes.
you know, in that case, what would happen? Theoretically, the state could come to us and say, you're not complying with the disclosure mandates because how you define attributable is narrower or more vague than
Acceptable, yeah.
what we actually require. And then we would have to argue with the state, convincing them that their language doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, I thought that the state is not, this is not a purview of state.
I said hypothetically. I mean,
Okay,
if they
so-
look at we have to certify each year to the state that we are as innocent as the driven snow.
And I'm not suggesting that we deviate from the intent of this, but I'm suggesting that needs to be simplified.
That's the word.
That somebody, any filer, I would submit with high school education, should be able to read this and understand. The way it is, I have to call a lawyer to explain this to me. And that doesn't work as something that everybody has to fill out without calling somebody else or getting guidance.
Let me suggest this. Let me call, not today, maybe tomorrow if I can, my contacts up at the State Ethics Commission,
Perfect.
one of the attorneys up there who used to work with me in my firm, and see if they've had similar questions from other jurisdictions, how they've responded, and if they have any alternate simplified language for
We want.
disclosure form.
That's what we want. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
And we'll see what they say.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. That's it.
Yes.
Because I've struggled. I had to go back to the model ordinance, see how some of these things were bulleted to make sure we had it right.
Right.
And then go back to the state ethics law, same purpose. So that's why I feel fairly comfortable this accurately reflects what the law and the models and everything require. But what you guys are saying is absolutely correct, that what the heck does it mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And we might be able to sit here for another hour and
Yeah.
pick apart every word and every bullet point and see how they build on each other. But I'm not sure that's productive at this point.
I agree.
Well, to look at it another way, I would not wish to have a filer come to me
Exactly.
and say,
Explain this to me.
explain to me what this actually means.
As the chair of the Ethics Commission, can you explain this?
But I think the Ethics Commission has the authority to interpret the law, do we not?
Interpret it in a manner consistent with what the words say, if it's ambiguous. Now, as one of you said, this form does not go to the State Ethics Commission.
That's
They will never see how you are interpreting it.
Yeah.
What they see is that you have incorporated the state mandated definition into your ethics ordinance, which we have done.
Mhm.
They've approved it.
Right.
So, I will do that tomorrow.
Great, thank you, Brett.
Happy to do it.
Well, the same question could come up in other ethics commissions.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. I've had that question once before. I gave the same explanation that I gave to you, and they said, okay, just leave it and we'll deal with it if the question comes up. So that doesn't mean that it's not correct to try and get a better explanation, but different commissions deal with it different ways.
And the fact is that if it's vague or if it's hard to understand, people are going to interpret them differently and most likely are going to make mistake and they're fine.
Let me say this also, that I have, in the years I've been looking at financial disclosure forms, I've never seen anybody say that they had an interest attributed to them from someone else. So
Hmm.
something that's there is actual use is few and far
See,
between.
that begs the question, is the question even necessary? That's what that says.
Or did they not understand what that really is? One of the two.
In the real world, this problem will resolve itself. Putting on my head as a filer, it was something attributable. I look at this and
Yeah.
And then somebody called you to task and said, well, I read it based on what I thought it meant. No, I had nothing attributable. If you're
Yeah,
saying
that's
that I was
assuming.
wrong, tell me how I should, what it really means, and I'll fill out the form.
all right. I think where we are
Item C,
is
I think.
we have a little bit of further homework to do. I don't. A question. In order to finalize the wording, can we do it by exchange of
Email, yeah.
correspondence, or do we have to have a physical meeting?
I think that given where you are, you can probably clean up these last few issues by exchange of email, as long as you're not doing it in real time. Okay? So what I mean by that is that I think there should be a motion here to authorize this process. Okay? That, and the revision for people to get one final look at, and they each individually can respond to you of their approval. Don't want to have going on is
Meeting.
an email meeting going
Meeting,
on
yeah.
simultaneously.
That'd be illegal, yeah.
So with that in mind, which I agree is the right way forward, could you provide whatever you are suggesting to Peter before he sends out his revision? So that Peter's revision would include any clarification or otherwise. I think there was another item that we said
What
that
I would prefer to do is send out all the revisions except the one on the unquote attributable.
and there was one more. If it comes back to you, what
Oh, yeah.
clearer meant.
Right.
You remember that?
I
there
ask
was another
everybody
item.
to get back to me, so we don't have a round robin and
Right.
Things get confused. And
I'm not sure if I understood. So you will send out a revision.
I will send out all the revisions except a rewrite of the definition of attributable.
And another thing that Fred,
If I can,
if he can find that, there may be another clarification that Fred will make. Then Fred will respond to your email with those changes or clarifications, and then we comment on that revision. Then is that the process we are talking about?
yeah, all I'm saying is, I could send out an email to the three of you, and you can individually get back to me or get back to Peter. What I'm saying you don't want to do is
At the meeting, yeah.
is have a contemporaneous exchange of emails. You send something back to me, and then, what do you think, guys? Greg responds, well, I think so-and-so. Peter responds so-and-so. And then you get into another round of contemporaneous dialogue.
I agree with that. In addition to that, whatever revisions we do, I suggest that it should be on one document, so we see all the revisions in one document.
I will send any revision to Peter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Very well.
because there's so many, and this, he and I were talking about this earlier, there's been so many versions floating around.
It gets
from
confusing.
different people.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Just lost as to which one is the most recent one that we should be working with. And I'm
Yes, you will see the most recent one, if not today, then tomorrow. And that will be the most recent one as we understand it. If and it should be should contain everything except that attributable definition. Now, if you see something that you think, no, this is not right, or then by all means get back to me. Why even the Pope has not been infallible at all the times during the long history of the Catholic Church. Pope has been infallible only since about the 1870s or so. Next agenda item. Anything else that anybody wants to bring before the meeting? Final agenda item. Date for the next meeting.
What will be the purpose for the primary purpose for the next meeting? Reviewing the actual filings? Is that what the major event will be for us?
We
We had comments.
The statements will be sent out after April 1st. Is that correct? Yeah. And Sharon, how much lead time do you need between April 1st and the final version of our questionnaire here?
Well, we were hoping to have them sent out April 1st.
I mean, well, you'll have to basically just, create enough copies, or I don't know whether you send paper copies or you send an email to everybody. I think there are about a dozen people that have to receive these.
Yeah. They're sent email and also on.
So,
And what is the deadline for them to file?
April 30th.
April 30th. Okay, so
yeah, I think the practice has been that we give it to them at the beginning of the month, so they have a whole month to,
right, makes sense.
to fiddle with it.
So sometime in May,
So,
then?
at the outside, at the minimum, could you, if you get it a week before the April 1st, would that be enough for you?
It would be fine for me.
Okay.
I'm not sure how far the administrator has gone with that, because she'll be the one putting it online.
I think we'll hope to get this done sooner than that. But I just don't want to run into April, so it shortens the 1 month period for the filers.
Can we set a target for us by March 15? We have everything out to them? I mean, that should be adequate for
I think
us.
so, yeah.
So we get you send the final one after all iterations by March 15 at the latest. Does that make sense, Fred?
Sure.
As far as,
I will make my call tomorrow.
Yeah.
to the,
Right.
Attorney for the State Ethics Commission, see what kind of-
Okay.
Maybe they'll have suggestions, maybe they won't.
We'll have all of next week plus 1 or 2 days following Monday, Tuesday, so whatever the 15th was.
I think, what is it, 15th is next Wednesday, by next Wednesday.
Well, puts us into April.
We finalize our work by next Wednesday,
Next
and
meeting.
then it's in the,
He's saying April meeting, though, is what he's saying.
for our next meeting?
Yeah.
But is it needed? Is my
Yeah.
question.
Well, good question. I see nothing on the horizon that we would have to meet about.
Right.
And so, if something comes up that comes to anybody's attention, let me know. And for minute purposes, we can say next meeting will be held at the call of the chairman.
I'm picking a date, okay.
We are not setting a date then, because May, I will be out for the latter part of May until June. So,
No, if we think, monthly meetings are sort of the default position, then
but do you want it to be? I mean, why do,
No.
no,
Not at all.
right, exactly. So if there's a month that we don't have anything,
If something comes up, be in touch with everybody and say,
Right.
we have to meet about this. When are you free to do it? And if you're away in May, I'll be away.
17th on, I will be out. Actually,
away a
15th.
good deal in June. June is good months to go fishing.
I will be away for 2 weeks, beginning of July, beginning of July.
I'll be
So you may,
part of August.
so Peter, you may want to set a tentative date in the first part of May,
The forms are due back by April 30th.
April 30th, and you will distribute those right then.
Once
So
they're
we
all in
have-
hand, we'll have to meet and.
So let's say maybe the week of May 8th, we have had those forms for a week, maybe sometime that week.
Question. Do you want me to review the forms first and do a summary of
Good
what,
point.
if anything, I see? I do this for a couple of my commissions.
Great idea, yeah.
It's a great idea. You did that last time too, didn't you?
I think so.
Yes,
I don't remember what I did for you. I know I do it for several others.
Right, right.
I think it's a great idea. What does that mean then?
A lot of wasted time, a lot of
Yes.
duplicative time.
And then
If somebody could go first
Hmm.
and say, these are the points that come up to me.
So, Sharon, I think we have the endorsement of the commission for me to pre-review all the forms as they come in. And I'll create what I call review summary, and get that out to you guys. And so you can send them to me either in batches or one by one as they come. Probably more efficient, send me, several at a time, so that if I'm sitting there, yeah, I can work on a bunch of them at one time.
So when do you think, Fred, you would be in the position to have sent out the list of your observations
Well,
to all of us?
It depends when they come in.
Let's say April or May 1st, you get them.
If I get them May 1st.
Well, they won't come in all in one batch.
Now, if she gets half a dozen of them by April 20th and send them to me, then not much ahead of the game.
Right.
Shouldn't take that long unless these are really poorly prepared. I would say probably if we can schedule something for the second week in May.
Perfect. So maybe May 10th or 11th?
11th.
11th is better.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Thursday.
Thursday? And we'll try for the customary 1 o'clock.
Sure.
May 11, 1 o'clock.
What day do we say?
Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
Thursday, May the 11th.
Hey, Thursday, May 11th, 1 o'clock.
Perfect.
Thursday, the 11th.
Thursday, the 11th, May 11th, at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. Final point, comments by commissioners and members of the public. And a day from today will be St. Patrick's Day, which is a day where every American is entitled to become an honorary Irishman for the day and drink green beer. It's also the day when the ospreys are due back at their roost out on our channel markers.
They have a reservation for that thing?
All right.
They own those.
Oh,
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Valiantly
Okay,
move
Sharon.
forward. Sempre avanti.
how you doing, okay?
Yeah.
All right, take care.